Thank you, everyone. Jim and I have worked together for over 15 years now, and this is the first time we have co-presented, so this is a real treat for us. We actually started working together at a company called ITA Software that built an industry-leading airfare pricing and shopping engine called QPX, and then we joined Google, where Jim led the engineering team that built Google Flight Search and Google Hotel Search. So having spent over a decade at Google, we are deeply passionate about search, not only in the user experiences that can be built, but also how the algorithms and infrastructure you need for search to be fast, accurate, and scalable. And a big part of the reason that we joined Mobi was just the tremendous potential that AI has to transform the travel industry. And so today we're going to be talking to you about a product that we've developed called Intent-Driven Search. I'm going to start just briefly recapping some industry trends, which have already been touched on this morning. The first is that search is fundamentally changing. Microsoft, Apple, Google, they're all launching these generative and AI-based search experiences. And this is going to change not only how people search, the types of questions that they ask, but also the types of answers that they are expecting to receive back. 10 blue links isn't going to cut it anymore. They want something that's summarized and relevant and really personal to the question that they asked. This is also touched on, which is the rise of experiential travel. People are traveling because of the things that they want to see and the things that they want to do. And in fact, many care more about the experiences than the cost of the trip. Not everyone, but lots of people. But they don't know where it is that they want to go to have those experiences. And so what that means is that the types of questions that they're going to be asking are far more descriptive than prescriptive. And they're going to need help figuring out where it is that they want to go. Property search hasn't really evolved yet, though, to meet those types of questions. Go to any hotel website or mobile app, and the first thing that they'll ask you is say, where do you want to go, and when do you want to go, and who's going with you? So there isn't a good place for them to explore. They do put together collections of things that may be interest-based or time of the year-based, but they're fairly undifferentiated. And so where people can't find the types of specific things that they're interested in, they're going to go to other places to ask those types of questions. And ultimately, where they start planning their trip is going to influence where they end up booking. We can see that the OTAs, the metas, the aggregators, they're already starting to experiment with generative AI-based searching experiences. So they're kind of leaping onto these trends. And Jim will tell you a little bit about that.
Yes, indeed. So just simply adding an LLM, a Gen AI-based language model into a website is not the solution. We've heard a lot about that already today. There are a number of well-known problems that come with LLMs. First of all, there are accuracy concerns, data issues. These are gigantic models trained on millions of documents that were gathered over 6 months, a year, 2 years ago. And they're predictive. They're fundamentally trained on how words go together. So they're really good at making things that sound believable, but there's sort of the well-known hallucination problem. They're not actually based in real-time, current, up-to-date data and facts. So you've got some concerns there. As the New York Times put it recently, likelihood is not the same as accuracy. There are also efficiency concerns. As Chris said this morning, these models are huge. They've been trained on a lot of energy, a lot of power, a lot of expense, and they charge per token for users to use them. So you've got a moderately popular website, you've got a lot of wordy natural language queries, the tokens add up, the cost can really add up, as can sort of the latency. And then finally there's the privacy concerns and model ownership. Fundamentally, it's on your website, your users are typing into your site, but then it's being shipped off to some large tech company to become part of their training set in the future, and you really want to take control over that. So this leads us to our solution, which we call Intent-Driven Search. So what we have is a platform spun out of technology from the MIT AI lab that helps hoteliers and their guests find the perfect properties in the perfect places based on the experiences and the desires that the guests express as intents, hence intent-driven search. So the basis of our platform is a formal planning, reasoning, and recommendation system. And this comes from the doctoral research of one of our co-founders. It comes out of the branch of AI that is the same area as optimization, formal logic, expert systems. And what it allows us to do is actually be confident in the conclusions and the results and the recommendations we make, that they're going to be based on real relations based on facts and not just statistical probabilities. Secondly, we have an enormous knowledge set. Our semantic web, if you will, contains millions of touristically interesting points of interest. We've built it up over a number of years, and it's structured data that's been tagged and enhanced and enriched with information about place and time and availability and pricing. So you've got real-world data available to feed the model that actually can operate on logic and reasoning. And then finally, we use a natural language interface. There's a natural language API on top of this that does exploit LLMs, but uses those for where LLMs are really strong, which is understanding and interpreting and parsing human text and using that to drive the reasoning on top of the data. So let me just give you a sense of some of the enrichment that we can do on top of the database here. The diagram, the picture there, is our real-world understanding of everywhere you can get to within a 30-minute drive of a hotel in downtown Chicago. And so that's based on actual roads, drive times, and so forth. And you can see it's not just a simple radius. And while hoteliers certainly understand and know that each of their hotels has a unique fingerprint, and they know the attributes, and they've got the pricing and the availability data, when combined with our knowledge set, we can add on top of that reachability, proximity, not just driving, but also walking and transit distances. We can add on top of that nearby things to do, experiences, restaurants, museums, dining opportunities, and so forth. And then even temporal and environmental data, weather, climate, live events, and even what interesting animals you might be able to see nearby. And then finally, on top of this, we have a model-based similarity service. So this allows us to take pretty much any reasonable expressed intent from a guest and return a relevant, useful answer, even if it's not strictly one of the tags in the system. So turn that back to you.
Yeah, so we support a whole world of intent, everything from the types of experiences that you might want to have on property, what the cost is, what the amenities are, to the things outside of the hotels. As Jim said, the places that you can eat, the things that you can see, the type of climate or environment that you want to be in, to the animals that you can see, but also kind of the vibe or the type of feeling that you want to have when you're there. I was thinking last night about New York, right? Like New York, Manhattan, it's an island, it's not that big, but just think about how different of an experience it might be if you stayed at the Mandarin Oriental up in Columbus Circle versus the Marriott Marquis in Times Square versus the Standard High Line down in Chelsea, right? Like different hotels, they feel different. The design is different of those hotels, but it's also going to be very different what it's like when you step outside the door of that hotel. And so we can understand what it is that you want to experience and then help find the perfect property for you. So this is, I wanted to jump in and show you a demo of our system. So this is a example user interface that we have built on top of Mobi's intent-driven search APIs. So if I wanted to go on holiday, I could simply type, let's see, is the video actually running? Let's see. Oh, maybe not.
Have we started the video?
I don't believe we have.
Could be the wrong video. There we go. Play. Play. And give it a little click.
There we go. Okay. So as I was saying, this is a example UI built on top of our APIs. So if I wanted to go away on holiday, all I need to do is start to describe the type of holiday that I want to have. So I could say that I want to go somewhere warm for 5 days over Christmas. And what the system is going to do is it's going to use that language model to understand what I asked it to do. So it's going to detect an intent of warm, and it's going to update my dates to 5 days around Christmas. This demo is running on top of a set of highly rated and reviewed 10,000 hotels and rental properties around the world. I can scroll around the map, and I can also browse the results that have been returned back. I can update my search, though, to describe the types of things that I want to do on my vacation. I could say, for example, that I wanted to play golf near the ocean. And so that's now looking and seeing, well, where are the places that have golf and where are the places that are proximate to the ocean. But as I only have 5 days, I probably don't want to fly all the way to Australia. So I can update my query and say, well, show me someplace with a nonstop flight from Chicago. And so this is actually looking at flight schedule information to tell me where I can fly to at this time of year nonstop from Chicago. I can further refine my search and talk about, well, what are the types of things that I want to experience in the property? So I could say that I want to go to a hotel that has a spa, maybe a swim-up bar as an example, and here are some results that exactly match the things that I have asked for. So this is a really kind of compelling and engaging experience, mostly because it's fast. I can ask questions and refine my questions and get accurate answers that I can trust, and then click into them and explore my booking options and the types of room availability that I have. So we strongly believe that by creating these new user experiences, it's going to lead to new users, both in terms of adding more engagement in the direct channels at the top of the funnel, and that in turn is going to drive and create emotional loyalty, right? It's not just transactional loyalty, it's you were part of why this person chose to the place that they wanted to go. And we believe that one path to personalization is just letting people ask personal questions and giving them really relevant answers. And you can see just by the query that I had before, you've learned some things about me. You know, I like the ocean. You know, I like golf. You know, I'm probably going to go to your spa. I'm probably going to be spending some time at the swim-up bar. You can use that information, right, to maybe send me some offers or whatnot. And so, experiences like this are really going to drive direct bookings, decrease distribution costs, and hopefully increase the total revenue from my stay.
Cool.
So that's it.
And I think we
have a couple minutes for questions.
Questions? Yes, in the back.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm coming.
So for one of your use cases, you're saying someone says, okay, I want to spend 60,000 points, help me budget a trip. So how does that work on your platform, given your data?
Well, so it kind of goes through a flow. First thing, you got to understand that. So we know that there's a budget intent there, 60,000 points. Mm-hmm. I forget, did you say it said just go anywhere, or did you give me a little clue in what you wanted to do?
Right. Sorry, I was just using one of your examples on the page.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm assuming points mean something like, Hilton Honors points or Bonvoy points. Have you?
Yeah, apologies. Helpful clarification here from the front. This is a platform that we provide to and partner with as a B2B service for customers. So if you're actually asking this question of a particular hotel group or chain or something, right? So we have information about the points. So if that was part of the question, it's like, how do we know? That's the sort of thing that comes from the partner of ours, right? Because the points conversions are proprietary. So we need to parse the intent, understand the points, and then be able to look that up in the data around the hotel Some of that data we get from our hotel partners, because again, we're partnering with a particular hotel in this case. The rest of that is going to come from the knowledge base, and then that's going to go through the reasoning and recommendation system that's going to match the two. Does that kind of get at the question? Or? Okay. Sorry. There was one other hand up over here if we had.
You guys are making me work out today.
How do you get it to run so fast? Like the response time is like very impressive.
Very clever engineering. No, it's. I mean, we have our own kind of model that we can run on this that is tailored to the use case that we've got. So we're actually solving a narrower problem. So if you think about the way OpenAI is doing, and they're running across, what, 500 billion possible, tokens that they've pre-trained in this thing, it's a super gigantic model that's prepared to, you could ask it how to bake chocolate chip cookies, or, where do I want to go on vacation? We can actually narrow it down on that. And like I said, the way that we're using the slow parts, the LLM, is just pull out the intents. Where are the travel intents in this? And then the rest of the system, like I said, it's running off of an optimization and recommendation engine, which runs much more efficiently than a gigantic neural net that, like I said, you could ask it, the best way to improve my golf swing or bake chocolate chip cookies or where I want to go on vacation. It does everything all at once.
One more question here.
Yes. So does it mean like you build your own smaller LLM from scratch, or you fine tune like an existing smaller one? Like
we can leverage multiple different LLMs, but again, because the usage of that LLM is narrowly tailored to interpreting a set of travel intents, it means that it can be slimmed way down and the queries can be tuned to be much faster.
Thank you.
Hey, I just have a quick question. This is really neat. You mentioned it's a B2B tool. Is this deployed for like group sales support, or what's the use case that it's used for?
So this can be used both for, hoteliers and whatnot to create these types of experiences in their direct channels. But we also have products that kind of bake this in as part of helping an agent or something like that. If somebody calls up, a travel agent and says, hey, I want to go somewhere where I can see gorillas and blah, 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 right? How is that agent going to find those places? And so it can be used in an agent context and whatnot as well.
I was wondering if it's not customer facing, is there a challenge that you've encountered that's kept it from being customer facing, or is it just it hasn't evolved there yet?
Yeah, I would say that we have purposely chose to kind of go into the B2B space. It's really B2B2C, right? Like we're selling to companies who then put it in front of their customers. I think that you've seen with generative AI, a lot of the tech companies who are building consumer-facing experiences, and you're seeing new startups trying to build consumer-facing experiences. Mobi is really focused on how do we help businesses create those types of experiences in a scalable way, so that they can kind of create those similar types of experiences in their direct channels that can be created by the big tech companies who have consumer-facing presence.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think we heard from Scott this morning, that the information that the hotels have about their properties and their users can really make an experience that's going to be way better than a generic, Google is going to be able to do without that knowledge.
All right, great. Thank you, Mobi. Appreciate it.